Hi puppy parents, Michael with Front Range Dog Training. I have a very special video for you today. This is called the love hold. It's a technique that we use with puppies that range from somewhere between 8 and 10, maybe even 12 weeks of age, depending on the size of the dog. The importance of this exercise is to establish the correct relationship with the dog, to let them know that you're the parent and they're the child. One of the biggest benefits of this exercise, besides the relational component, which is huge, is it also teaches them how to settle down and relax. It's one of the most common things that we have with puppies. Clients want to know, how can I get my puppy to chill out a little bit? So this exercise is going to do that for you. I'm going to go right into the exercise. This is a clip from an actual client, first session with their yellow Labrador Retriever, and we do the puppy hold, and I'll show you how it goes. Keep in mind that this puppy was actually very easy, meaning he didn't fight a ton. He gave a couple little pushbacks, but it was overall on a scale of 1 to 10 was about maybe a 2 or 3 of intensity. Some dogs will be a lot more than that. So if you have any difficulties with this love hold after you try it once, please don't keep repeating it if the puppy's able to break free and escape or what have you. He's pretty big for his age. So this isn't going to happen too much longer, but the good news is you only need to do it for like a day or two, probably at the most. But see all the squirming, like, rah. By the way, your vet's going to love you for this because they'll be able to pick him up and he'll just relax instead of doing all this. So in this case, my left hand is going to go all the way across his body and over his shoulder and his chest. Notice I'm not underneath, I'm on the outside, okay? So I want to be able to hold him like really close to me. Once I get him here, I'm going to actually lift him up a little bit. Then, hi buddy. Then my right hand is going to go right behind his canines. You'll feel there's a little notch kind of up forward, but I'm going to try to keep my hand like this. And what I'm not going to do is like cover his snout like that. I'm not trying to grip his snout, okay? Let me go ahead and do it, and then I'll explain to you because he's going to get more fidgety as we keep doing this. Hold on. You are an escape artist, aren't you? Yes, okay, here we go. And he's not going to like it. But I'm not squeezing hard or anything like that. We're just trying to keep him from moving. And when I feel him start to relax, notice how I'm very gradually letting him down. Okay? And his tail's still going, so we're not done. We're gonna have a few little iterations. Do you see that? So now he's just really up. And as soon as he starts to go up again, I just go back in with a little bit of hold. And then only once he's relaxed, then you can love on him and tell him good boy, okay? So there we go. See, he got up, and then I just go right back to it.
You gotta put your chin like a
Absolutely. It's probably the trickiest part of this technique.
Okay.
And then when I feel him getting like a little bit heavy, and by the way, I suspect we're gonna have one really big throwing the kitchen sink at me in a minute here. He's just gonna go crazy. Possible. It's pretty common. But he's getting heavy now. He tries to fidget a little bit. I just go right back just so a little hold. I don't have to go all the way back to the beginning unless he starts to get really amped up, right? So the level of my hold is basically determined by how fidgety he is, right? If he just gives me like a little flinch like that, I'll just do a quick little, like just like that. Just doing that for him is communication. So for them, it's all physical, right? But this is what I'm looking for, okay? So then I can love all over him. I'm not holding his head. He's got his head just laying in my hand, right? So he gets up right now. That's totally fine. I'm gonna give him just a little break, and I'm gonna do it again because I wanna just make sure that we're getting through the learning part. And so for them, it's basically flashcards, right? They need to see repetition to understand, because right there, that's just an anomaly. I held him, okay, he doesn't, but then once he sees it 2 or 3 times, he'll understand there's a pattern to it, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and pick him up again. I'm just gonna take his head, and yes, I'm used, oh, there we go. As he relaxes, what I'm doing as I'm holding him is as soon as he stops actively squirming, I'm gradually, like millimeter by millimeter, just trying to take my hands and loosen him up a bit and let him understand like there's some freedom there, but not to jump out. But I always want to be ready to go right back to the hold again, okay? You see how awkward this is? I have to put my heels up to hold him up a little higher. I'm really crunched over, so it's pretty awkward, the whole situation. When you guys are doing this at home, you could always put like a cushion or a pillow or like to lift him up higher, because just like you noticed, you got to use your head. Your head is your third hand, basically. He goes behind his head and keeps him from being able to pull backwards and push up, basically. My elbow and my arm back here keep him from being able to back out, and this keeps him obviously from going to go forward or go sideways. And then this little kind of notch right here that I've got his jaw in keeps him from being able to flip his head all over the place. And of course my head keeps him from going to go up and try to like nip at my ears and things like that, okay? So you're basically swaddling him. Okay, hope you got something out of that video. I wanted to stress again, if your puppy is too strong, too intense, or you don't have your technique down well enough where you can actually hold that puppy and keep the puppy from whipping his head around and maybe even jumping out of your arms, you definitely do not want to continue with this exercise, because it's actually going to teach them that they can fight you and resist you and win. The ultimate goal of this, again, is the relationship, the relaxation, and the impulse control. So, when, where, and how much? For the first day or two, maybe 3 to 6 repetitions per person. By the way, it's really important that each person in the household that's able, adults usually, to do this should do it. And so your first couple days or 3 to 6 sessions, somewhere in that range, are going to simply be what I call fire drills. Just do it because. You're not waiting for a reason to do it. So you want to have a pretty mellow time. You pick the puppy up, you do your hold, the puppy relaxes, you put him down, maybe an hour or two later you go do it again. You can't really do it too much. You're not asking your puppy to be energetic or do anything exciting or anything like that. You just want them to relax and settle down. It'll wear them out mentally, but the physicality isn't going to be tested, basically. So you're going to pick the puppy up, let him relax, pick the puppy up, let him relax, let him see the pattern. And then once that's firmly established meaning when you pick your puppy up, there's no squirming. The puppy just lays their head down and is completely relaxed. At that point, you can begin to use this exercise in those situations where the puppy is spinning up out of control and starting to bite all over you and really having a hard time settling down, okay? Having said that, it's only one of the things that we do when our puppies have that kind of energy, because the reality is that's normal puppy behavior. Your puppy came out of a litter that's all they did all day long was wrestle and bite and play. What they're doing in that, starting at around 7 weeks of age, that play starts to have intention to be kind of who's going to be in charge, who's going to be in control, or establishing that hierarchy, if you want to call it that. And the way that they establish that isn't that necessarily one puppy bites harder than the other puppies, although that can happen. It's typically who's going to be more tenacious, who's going to keep going, and who's going to quit. And that is bringing out the nature of this drill, which is you're always going to hold out until the puppy relaxes, and they start to learn when they relax, they give, that then you give as well. Once you establish the fire drills and you get the routine to where the puppy understands that when you pick them up, that relaxation is the end result, then you begin to use it in situations where you need to settle that puppy down a bit. However, it's normal puppy behavior to bite and play rough and do all those things. So I don't want to try to completely squash that necessarily. What I like to do is have several different options of things to do in those times when the puppy is having those energetic outbursts. So one could be a puppy hold. I would do that maybe 25% of the time. Secondly, I would definitely work on a come command. You want a lot of energy in a come command, so we should capture that energy and turn it into something really positive. Watch my video on the come command. It's a really good one, and it helps bring that excitement out and give them something to do with it. Third, you could go play with them. You could take them outside. You could play inside the house, just rough house with them. If you just can't do any of that and it's just not a good time, then you can just put them away. Put them in a playpen, put them in a crate, something like that, and just say, hey, look, this is not a good time to do that right now. We can't deal with this. But the last thing you want to do is try to correct it or do anything overly energetic to try to stop the puppy. They just don't have the impulse control really to do it. But the hold will start to have a really good effect for you. So just start to work on that. This is the precursor to the stay command that we work on. So essentially, as you move forward 12 weeks and beyond, depending on the puppy, we start to put the puppy on the ground and ask them to stay. And it's essentially the same thing. You're basically saying, don't move. I want you to just relax and settle down. It's the ultimate off switch. And that is, to me, the very essence of dog training, is creating this mentality in a dog where they still maintain all of their dogness, yet they have a switch that they can turn off their desires, their impulses, their drives if you ask them to. And that's a well-trained dog, a dog that can still be the natural dog they are, but yet when you give a command, they do what you like. So try the exercise once. If it goes really well and you're able to get through it by holding and the dog settles down and relaxes and you start to relax with it, absolutely fantastic. You just keep doing it and repeat until it becomes totally natural for the dog. If you struggle, leave a comment below, reach out, contact me, maybe contact another trainer and have them help you out with this procedure. All right? Good luck. Happy training.